will get rolling. Father, thank you for the people who are here. And Jesus, that we have the time together and to talk about your church and to talk about your families and to talk about your kingdom. And I pray, God, that you would speak to our hearts, and Father, that we would jump on board, not with me or not with the leaders, but Father, we would just jump on board with Jesus, with what you're wanting to do to build your church and to reach the community around us and the world that we live in, and that you're sending out disciples. Father, help us and draw a heart of conviction tonight. God, challenge us to step up into the things that we need to. Lord, speak to us and let our hearts be ready to listen. I want to give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right, here we go. It's the light that pierces through you to the darkest hidden place. It knows your deepest secrets, but it never looks away. It's the gentle hand that pulls you from the judgment of the crowd. When you stand before the guilty and you've got no way out. An old hymn, and it's one of my favorites. Made
you just ever have those moments in your life when you're thinking about faith and you're thinking about Jesus and you're thinking about just how great He really is? Any of you ever just envision what heaven's going to be like? You just picture the gates and you just picture standing at the throne and meeting Jesus and worshiping around the throne with Him. And I think about it sometimes. I think about, man, what's it going to be like to see all the ones who have gone before, to meet my Savior, because He really is that good and that great. So I want us just to sing this chorus just one more time. And what I want you to do is just with your eyes closed, as you sing this, you know it. I just want you to picture heaven. I just want you to try to and look, we can never fathom. We can't do it really justice. But just have this connection, you and Jesus right now. Just picture it. What's that day going to be like when Christ shall come? When He collects the church, when He collects His saints, when we get to stand, when we get to worship. So let's worship with our eyes closed, but with the eyes of our heart open. Just envision what that day is going to look like. Let's sing this chorus together just again. Just picture it.
Then sings my soul, my Savior unto Thee. How great Thou art! How great Thou art! Then sings my soul, my Savior God to Thee. How great Thou art! How great Thou art!
Jesus, as your church gathers tonight, Lord, for a night where we talk about vision, where we talk about ideas and plans, Lord, most importantly, each and every day of our life, help us to have the vision in front of us of the kingdom of God and reaching as many people down here on earth as we can for the time we have. But Lord, knowing that one day we will get to stand and worship with you, and worship you around the throne. And Father, I think that maybe one of the first songs we'll ever sing is How Great Thou Art. When we can tell you, thank you, face to face. And so, Father, as we enter into our time tonight, fire our hearts, God, and give us the excitement for what's going on here as a representation of the eternity that's to come in heaven with you. Jesus, build your church. Build your church right here. And we give you all the praise in Jesus' name. And everybody said, amen. All right, have a seat. Have a seat. Marilyn, if you turn the lights up, that would be great. If you have your Bibles, open to Psalm chapter 78. I want to share with you one passage of Scripture tonight. Psalm chapter 78. And I'll read that to you in just a moment. So if you don't have your Bibles, take a notebook. If you don't have a notebook, find a pen and write on your hand, okay? Or write on the person's neck, whatever you want to do. Psalm chapter 78. Well, I want to share with you, we're going to do a two-part night tonight, okay? Two-part night. The first part, here's what I mean by this. The first part is, I want to share some things. I want to share some things with you that we've learned at this conference that you guys sent us to. And so it's no good for you to send us if we don't ever come home and share it or find ways to try to help the church. That's why we go, is to help our family and our marriage and churches and families here and marriages here and children here and all of that. And so we want to share with you just a little bit of what this looks like and what we hope to make a shift of connecting the church and the home. The church and the home. There's a slide up here. If you'll hit the second slide, Marilyn. It's a quote by Tim Kimmel. It says this: strong churches don't make strong families. Strong families make strong churches. We look, and this is a hand-in-hand thing. We hope to make strong families, right? We hope to do that. But listen, the truth of the matter is the church is comprised of the family. It's comprised of the family. So what we want to do is we want to find a way to take what we do on Sundays here in the service, back in the kids department, in that kids department, on Wednesdays with the teens and the other kids. We want to find a way to take that from here and help you put it into your home. Now some of you say, okay, well, I don't have kids in the home anymore. you're married, right? Or you have family in your home, or you have grandkids that come into your home, or nephews or nieces, or somebody. Maybe you say, well, I don't have any of that. How many of you ever talk to somebody throughout the day? Like just, phone, text, Facebook, Herald, whatever that may be. How many of you talk to somebody throughout the day, right? You talk to somebody, and that means that you have an opportunity to be that and to connect what church and the home, and to make it not two separate entities, but one together. And in Psalm chapter 78, I want to look just at the first 4 verses, and here's what he says in Psalm chapter 78. He says, "O my people, listen to my instructions. Open your ears to what I'm saying." How many of you have ever told your kids that? Get your ears open, right? And I think he's telling them in some ways, look, you need to stop ignoring things, acting like you don't hear me, and you need to get your act together. And you need to listen. He says, open your ears to what I'm saying, for I'm going to speak to you in a parable. I will teach you with hidden lessons from our past. Verse 3. Stories we have heard and known, and stories our ancestors handed down to us. But I want you to underline all of verse 4, if you would. Psalm chapter 78, verse 4, and here's what it says. We will not hide these truths from our children. We will tell the next generation about the glorious deeds of the Lord, about his power, and about his mighty wonders. How many of you have a story from your great-grandparents that you want passed along to your children? That you have told them about, well, or my dad was this. How many of you've told your kids before something like that? My dad used to say, or my grandpa used to say, or my great-grandpa used to say, or my great-grandma used to say, and somebody has made an impression on your life. And what Scripture's saying here is, look, we will not hide from our kids. We will not be quiet. We will not shut up about the things that God has done in the past. We want to pass these stories on from generation to generation. We want to connect the church and what takes place on Sundays or what takes place in our meeting times. And we want to connect that to the home throughout the week. Through the home throughout the week. One way that this doesn't look like this right now is called a bicycle method. Okay, there's going to be a bicycle here, and Whitney's going to tell you what we learned about the bicycle method.
The bicycle method, we just have this, it works with 2 pedals. You cannot use a bicycle with 1 pedal. And the way that they describe this to us is that each pedal, one of your pedals is church and 1 pedal is home. And what has happened in our culture today is that the church pedal is trying to move doubly as fast to try to take up for that home pedal, because the home pedal doesn't move anymore. Okay, and talking about Christ and discipling. So the church moving double time still doesn't help that home pedal. Okay, it has to be in unison, and both have to be going at the same time. Our shirts, it's so cool that we ended up getting these. We got them literally like as soon as the conference was over, and they were about to sell out. And somebody had said they've sold these every year at D6, and it's one of their most selling shirts. 1 over 168. 168 is the hours in the week. Okay,
and we had some of you already. I already had some of you ask, what's 168 mean? You didn't know how many hours in a week there are.
I didn't know.
168.
Okay, 168 hours in a week. And they're saying that only 1 of those hours, which would be Sunday morning, is spent in church or discipling. Okay, and so that means that this church pedal is doing all the work. And the goal then is to increase this top number, to increase the numerator. Okay, and so we've got some ideas of how to do this by kind of what they taught us.
One thing about this 168 that I learned in the past at the D6 conference is that they got this fraction, this 1 over 168. This represents the home, right? The family. That the families only spend 1 hour a week, and that's typically just in church. All right, just in church. Y'all are blessed because I always go over an hour by the time, so you're already above that. All right, we spend 1 hour and 20 minutes by the time worship and everything's done. But what that means is that they did a poll, and I remember them saying this. They started the D6 material and conference back in 2009. That over 17,000 people, 17,000 Christians, that this is the only time of the week that they spend doing Jesus type stuff. That means that the most that they ever do with their family and with their children, the most that the average Christian, and let's just call it me and you, the most that we ever do is we get in our car after Sunday and say, how was church? You ask your kids, did you learn something? And many of us say, did you learn something? And they say, yeah. And you don't follow it up with, well, what did you learn? right? What did you learn? And so what we want to do is we want to help connect and give you some things that we can do to make this top number grow. Now, we learned probably 30 things that we could do. All right, there's at least probably 30 things we could do. I've been the guy before in life, in our marriage, even in pastoring, that's like, all right, if we do this and this and this and this, and we're going to do this and this and this and this, and the problem is you have 20 to 30 things and you fail at one, right? So let's do one or two things and let's do it well. And so here's a couple of thoughts of how we can do this. How can we do this? Well, the first one is every Monday you're going to get a connection point, all right? Every Monday. Now this puts the task on me because if you don't get this, this is nobody's fault but mine. So starting next Monday, the reason we're going to start next Monday is that way I can take this week and this coming Sunday to have people sign up. You will either give me your phone number for a text message, or you will give me an email address. And what my desire is, and what my hope is as the pastor, is that Monday I will send everybody out either a text or an email that has some follow-up questions from the sermon, things that if your kids are still in class, you can still talk to them. Just simple Jesus faith questions. But that night when you eat dinner together, or when you drive through McDonald's together, or when you're doing this or that, or on your way to this or that, because life seems so crazy, that you can just do these 2 or 3 questions in the car. But it starts a conversation. And what it does is, how many of you would be honest enough to say that sometimes what you hear on Sunday, you don't remember again come Monday? Right? You're not going to hurt my ego. I'm just lying to you. You just hurt my ego, okay? No. Sometimes we're guilty of, we remember it if we look back at our notebook, which we usually don't until the next Sunday morning. Okay? And so what we're trying to do is I want to give you, as a pastor, I feel like it's my responsibility to say, hey, what can I put into your hands? So what you're going to get is a text message or an email that says, here's 3 questions for you to talk over. There will be weeks that I send you a link. Literally, you can get a text message and it'll have a link in it. You literally can just hit that link. All right, you can hit that link and it'll open up a family devotion for you that somebody else has written, that I found and that I read, or that I wrote, or that she wrote, or that somebody wrote. And you just do that together as your family. I can't make you do that, but the only way that we're going to increase the numerator is when churches start supplying families with options. The only way that we're going to do that is when the church, and me being the pastor, says, get your tail in gear and equip your people. When you equip them, when you give it, you don't have to do it. That's up to you. But you do have to answer the question, is this good enough for you? Are you all right with 168 hours? And let's be real, none of you sleep more than like 4 hours. Right? Maybe 7. Okay? How many of you sleep probably 5 hours at best a night? 7? How many of you are 8 or less a night? Okay? Almost everybody are 8 or less. So 8 times 7 is what, Jeff? 56. How many hours are down here? So 168 minus 56 is what? I'm asking you because I don't know. It takes too long. 12. So you have to say, okay, take out sleeping. Are you good with 1 over 112? Are you all right with saying there's 112 awake hours? Matherly's good with it. Preacher's kid, she's honest. Yeah? That doesn't help me. Are we all right with 1 out of 112? Well, we're not. And I'm not for my home. I can't speak for you. I'm not going to speak for you. I can only speak for me. But I'm not. What I hope that this does is this gives faith conversations to happen with your family. Look, this is just once a week. But you can choose, are you going to revisit these questions? Okay, you talked about on Monday. Are you going to revisit them Wednesday? Are you going to revisit them Friday? Are you going to choose to make this a part of your conversation? Are you going to go back to this devotion link and reread it? Or, look, the great thing about links is usually at the bottom of it, it says, next devotion. You make the choice if you hit it, right? You make the choice if you take the time to say, it's important for my family to increase the 1 over 168 or even more, the 1 over 112, right? So one way that we're going to do that is that. That'll also include, if there's big church announcements, something going on special that week, or anything like that. Not every week will there be announcements, all right? It's just if it does. So you get to make the choice. Do you get a text message? Do you get an email? Here's the good thing about it. When I text it out to you, okay? When I text it out to you, it's going to be, I'm going to shoot it one time. It's only going to make me type it once. But it's going to come to you as an individual text, all right? Which means in many homes, it's going to come to Craig and Penny, Sean and Dana, Roy and Carla, Jeff and Mark. That means there's some accountability there. You both got it. Somebody needs to take action on it. All right, somebody needs to take action. And if you choose to respond to me, or if you choose to read it and feel conviction, or you want to talk, or you just want to say thank you or anything like that, you're not responding to everybody else. You're just responding to me. Same thing with your email, okay? You can reply to me, or you can reply on email to them all, but that's up to you if you choose to do that. But it's very good. It's going to be very personal, all right? It'll be a group deal, but very personal, where you don't have to feel like responding to everybody in that, all right? So you're going to get that every Monday.
One of the breakout sessions that I attended, he referred to it as Josh and I, or even the leaders in the church, Roy for the team, Dana, we can't give you the hours. We can't make your numerator increase. We can give you the tools for you to do it. And so too many times people look at the church and they say, Josh is, he's the one who gives me that. Okay, he is the tools in my toolbox to make me closer to Jesus. But that's not right. He is the person who shows you your toolbox and gives you the resources inside your own to say, this is what you need and this is how you do it. So I think our thinking has to shift from us providing it for people to providing the resources to equip them. Okay, we're equipping them. We are not doing it for them. Okay, and so I think that's one of the big things.
Yeah, so basically stop using me as a tool, okay? I'm not a tool. No matter what you want to think of me, I'm not a tool, okay? I'm not that. I went to, one of my breakouts was by a guy named Alvin Sanders, and he was soulful, y'all, all right? He loved what he talked about. He loved what he talked about, but what she said, and it makes it so true, is, look, my job as your pastor is to equip you, but I can't do it for you. And he said it this way, he said, raise your own babies.
That's right.
You're responsible to help me raise my kids, but I'm the one that's in the home. You're the one that's in the home, right? Whether it's husband and wife, or whether you're still raising kids, it doesn't matter. I can't pastor your wife, man, you need to. I'm their church pastor, you're their family pastor. Okay, so we need to let it shine, and you need to raise your own babies, okay? You need to raise your own babies. There's another way that we want to do this, and this is an action step. What we wanted to give you, that's a home, okay? That's something that we're going to do to equip you to take the home. Now what's something that we can do here? What's something that we can do here to incorporate? What I'm talking about, what we're talking about is we want to find a way for you to have conversations, all right? Just about church and about Jesus. And you never know how many of you have ever had a conversation that one thing led to another. And then you had this 4-hour conversation, right? Or then you got mad and grabbed a pitchfork and put it in Wes's chest. Whatever that is, you have conversations where one thing leads to another, all right? All right? In one of Whitney's breakouts, they talked about this. Tell them what the next thought is.
All right, Marilyn, can you put this next one up? It is vital for us to not have these two pedals going. But what's happening is we've got this home pedal maybe going a little bit, but real slow over here, and then here's the church pedal. And the problem is that we see church as this big pedal, but then we've got this little teen pedal going on the side, and we've got this kids pedal going over here, and then we've got the adults. And so if the adults are really working hard, but then I'm not saying we are, I'm saying, but if the teens and the kids aren't moving at all, then really all your adults are doing the work.
Or sadly,
and that's not right. That's not right.
Sadly, a lot of times it's the teens and the kids.
Okay, so it works the same way. And so too many times people are seeing this wheel over here, this wheel over here, and this one down here within this whole wheel. And it can't work like that. It's got to be like this. It would be like one wheel here, the adults, teens, and kids, but they overlap each other and create the church. And our goal is to be that middle. It is to have that pedal going in the middle, not in one of the areas or all of it. It is to be in the middle. Okay, and so one of the amazing resources he gave me, I could have told you 30 things we could change today. This is one of the best ones I found. He said, how does a generation pass on things if you stay with your generation? Okay, true, right? If we as adults sit in this room and we learn everything, and the kids are back there and they learn everything, and on Wednesdays too, kids there and teens here, and we learn our separate things, but we never take those together, except for at home, we're not doing it right. One of the examples he gave is, how easy is it for that boy to serve as a greeter with any of you? Okay? He said, he can pass out bulletins just as easy as Bobby. Okay? And let's be honest, they may do it better. Okay? Think about it. He can pass out a bulletin and talk to everybody who comes in the church. just as easy and just as confident as us, okay? And honestly, he may remember more people that come in than we do. So guess what that creates? That creates when he goes home, he says, oh, Dad, hey, guess who I saw come in? And they told me they were going to see me at church, on Wednesday, or I saw them at school. And you know what? Oh, and then at Walmart, hey, I saw them. They came to church and I greeted them. I handed them their bulletin. It creates this unity within the church with a simple step of a child being a greeter.
Yeah, it doesn't mean that they do it alone. It means we stick them with an adult. And what happens is one of our mission says this, that we're going to help lead men, women, and families, which means and children, to become fully devoted disciples of Jesus. How are they going to know how to do it if we don't do it now? Right? How are we going to know? What I'm not going to let him do is type the bulletin for me. Have you seen him write? All right? No, I know. But what we can say is, hey, it may be with Granddad. Or what may even be better is, you're going to be a greeter, Josh, and we'll give you a schedule. We'll get with Harold, we make a schedule, and you'll be at this door on this date, and your mom and dad will know, and it'll be in the bulletin, and he may be with Ron. He may be with Jamie and Justin Roberts, who's over there. It may not be just his mom and dad. And you know what that does? It means he gets to know other people in the church. That's all right. So here's what we're going to do. Josh, hold that for a minute. All right? You're the greeter. I'm going to open the door. I just want you to greet me. Good morning. How are you, brother? You're such a little stud, right? What do you have for me there? Okay, what is in this bulletin? Okay. Hey, I heard you guys serve breakfast on Sundays at church, right? Can you show me where they are? In the kitchen? But I'm new. Can you walk me to the kitchen? Sure. Let's go. No, not for not right now. But it's as simple. He's kind of hungry. You're always hungry. You're a boy. It's as simple as that. It's as simple as him saying, morning. Morning. Good morning. And it's a deal. And what he does is, as I like to think about the chair game, okay? What the chair example is, you can have a seat, okay? Give him a hand. Give him a good. What the chair example is if you want to train somebody to set up all the chairs, here's how you do it. You grab whoever's going to do it, but your job is when they're going to do it, you have to train them how. You have to equip them. So if I was going to take Morgan and say, Morgan, I want you to set up all the chairs for me. Or maybe Craig's going to say, Morgan, I want you to set out all the baskets on Sunday mornings. What he's going to do is the first week he's going to say, now watch me how I do it. You bend and put it down. All right? But he's going to tell you right where they go. That's the first week. Then the second week he's going to say, all right, now I'm doing 3 and you're doing 4. We're going to do it together so that you're still learning. Then the third week he's going to say, all right, it's you and I'll just make sure that it's good. I'll just make sure that help you out if you need it, I'm here. In the fourth week, she does the baskets every week from there on out. But she was trained and she was equipped. She was brought up and she was ready to go. And what that does is hopefully you guys say, Jeff knows ahead of time. He'll know, him and Marla will know who Josh is going to hand out bulletins with. But then you get in the car and then you have, what did you learn in class? Or did you learn? What did you learn? And who did you serve bulletins with? It goes from 1 question to 3, just like that. It starts allowing you to have faith talks somehow or another. And it starts allowing the church to become generations upon generations upon generations. And what I love about the diagram, all 3 of these, I think this is the Venn diagram, right? All 3 of these intersect, and when they intersect, you have the church as a whole. The church is the families. And so, where you're adults, too many families today, I think, one thing they talk about is we give our kids too much power in the home, but sometimes we don't give them enough in the church. And I don't mean power in the church, but they can do some things. They can help out. They can set up tables like the teens did for the funeral. They can tear them down. They can serve bulletins, right? We're not asking them to cook breakfast. I don't want that either. All right? You don't want them cooking breakfast yet, but when they're 12, 13, 14, they can cook with grandma. They can cook with grandpa. They can cook with you, and they can help. So there's ways to do this. So 2 things we want to do this is we want to, I'm going to send you a connection. Listen, that you're my accountability, because if it doesn't come, there's one of 2 options. Either the phone messed up and you didn't get it, or I failed. It's one of the 2. And I'm human, so it's going to happen at some point or another. But the hope is that somehow or another, we equip you and we give you something to discuss in your home. You make the decision whether you do it. Second thing is, let's find a way to put our kids and our teens and our adults all together. All together. We want to be this church as a whole. And not just, hey, let's stick them all and worship together. No, let's find a way to serve together. And another way, which brings me to the question, it's not another way, but here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to split you up into 5 or 6 little groups, all right? I want to ask you this question. And one way that we want to do this is that when the family comes together, the goal of discipleship is what? Go out and make disciples. That we want to train leaders, and we want to train students, and we want to train moms, and we want to train dads to go and to reach people, right? And then to disciple them so that those people go and reach people, so that those people go and reach people, and it becomes a cycle. How does this happen? Through community. Through community. So here's what I want to do. I want you guys right there, split up, all right? I want Justin, you to scoot closer to your dad. And I want you and Jim and Rhonda and Joe and Rob and Laura and Harold and Marilyn. You can come down for a minute if you want. You guys right there. All right, Ron and Diana, you hop up here with Jody and Christy and Diane. You guys you just scoot together. This whole section right here, scoot together. That one, you guys back there. I already talked to you five. Wes and Cindy with whatever their names are, Lynette and Penny and Craig and Dana, and then you guys hop right back there. You all just do that, okay? Here's what I want to do. Whitney, you go over and find one of these. I want to ask you this question, and one way that we want to make disciples is if we want to talk about physical growth in the church, which we're going to talk about, that's part 2, we're going to talk about that in just a second, is we have to reach our community, right? We have to reach our community. How many of you know your neighbors intimately? Personally. Y'all now. I know you guys do. Okay? How many of you know your neighbors, you know their first name, their last name? And okay, you say, well, I know we all live in the country here, except for us pretty much. All right? Maybe, how many of you know the one that lives a couple blocks from you? Maybe a mile from you. You know the people in your community. Okay? Do you know them? How well do you know them? Do you know more than just that? That's the Johnsons or that's the Kerrs. Do you know what they do for a job? Do you know if they go to church? Do you know where they go to church? Do you know what they believe? Do you know if they're lesbians or gays? Do you know if they're atheists or agnostics? Do you know if they have kids or no kids? How well? Are they cranky or not? Did they call the cops on you or not? How well do you know them? Well, you have to know them pretty well in order to reach your community. So you get right here with them. And here's the question I want you to ask, okay? I'm going to give you about 3 to 5 minutes to do this. And I just want, what this is, how many of you, your teacher ever said, I want you to brainstorm. And you're going to brainstorm real fast for this amount of time. Right? You're going to brainstorm. So here's where your pencil and paper comes in. You kind of have facilitators at each place just to write down and help you think about it. Here's the question. Here we go. Right here. Here it is. What would it take to reach our community? All right? To reach them for Jesus. To reach them, to get them to come to church. To get them to hear the gospel here. To reach out to them with love. What would it take to reach our community? And how, here's the application, how could we make it happen? So what are some things? Brainstorm. What's it going to take? That's probably the easy part. Because the simple answer is, it's going to take somebody talking to them. Now the real question is, how? How can we do it? Listen, we're a church together, which means that sometimes you guys have greater ideas than I do, right? Or you know your community. So what's the best ways? Think of some things that the church, how can the church reach our community? Talk together, 3 minutes, ready, set, go. Talk, right, laugh, whatever.
All right. You're supposed to be our leader.
Visit them all.
Yeah, I mean, all of us are kind of,
Yeah, we all.
I'm looking for 1 or 2 good ideas each group.
Most all of ours with us. Yeah, that's the thing. Put it all
Do you know, so you say most of them, but do you know people that don't? You're not sure.
Everybody
I can
within
think
2
of-
miles of us.
I don't know where they go.
well, yeah, but they're not in your neighborhood, like, maybe you don't need to, but still, yeah. You know, we talk.
It's a community, not your neighborhood. So community is basically Adair, Pryor.
Come to school. Right. Come to school. You can come to school and stand at that door. There'd be a lot of things said. Burn before you. We'd find it.
school and if there's anything across there too much, get picked up.
Gonna give you a minute more. No, it's quick, but just some great thoughts.
They will take your children and sit them, line them while the rest of the
We're gonna go 30 seconds.
and all these little kids. Keep after them and keep after them.
10.
I mean, extracurricular activities, not in.
All right.
Glittering and.
Y'all can just stay where you are. If you want, you don't have to return to your formal Sunday church seat. You can stay where you are. Or Wes, you can return to your formal Sunday church seat. Okay? All right. None of you like staying where you are, okay? All right, so here's what I want to do. I gave a facilitator at each group just to kind of make sure something's written down and to share so that we get through it as well. All right. So Jeff, you're the facilitator. How did your group say that you could reach the community and how we do it?
Morgan had the best idea that
I love
Christmas in the country is coming up.
Okay.
Do something at Christmas in the country. We did a Christmas parade one year to hand out maybe candy canes with our church information on it, something like that, or have a table there or something like that. That would reach in our community and.
Okay.
For those of us who don't know what it's country.
Yeah, what is? I know it's something
Big
big.
thing in that.
Big day of it, right?
It's like car show, there's booths, like vendors, there's food, but there's a parade.
So it's more than just the parade there,
It's
right?
okay.
Okay.
So you're not free.
So you
can see people.
So you could have like a group of people rotating through so that not everybody has to be there. Okay. Good job. Give it up for Morgan and there. This is it. Look, this is not, we all have, I've heard of that, but I have no clue what that is. So that's a good thing. Justin, what did your group come up with? Let everybody pet Jim's beard? What?
So there was a few things. One of them was just visiting the people around you. Or one thing said was come to the school. I don't know. We didn't know how we could accomplish that, but.
Okay, so getting into the schools somehow, huh?
Sporting events.
Sporting
You
events,
know, when you walk into the football game, you know there's always something going on here.
right?
Somebody can be standing there, you can hand the cards out. A
Okay.
piece of candy, like you said, an ink pen, anything.
Same concept, but a different venue, okay? So we got 2 people in the Adair school system right there that are going to figure out how we get into that. That's your job. Raise your own baby. No, but seriously.
We're raising over 1,000 of them now.
Yeah, there you go. You're raising thousands of them now. But no, that's the same concept, which is great, but a whole different venue of reaching people. A whole different aspect of that football season, basketball season, whatever it is coming up, and they have a connection of how we can get into that and do it, okay? Justin, was there any more?
Flyers on cars, and I just talked to people in the store.
Okay, so talking to people in store, flyers on cart. All right, great thing. I love those. I love the school, the system with that. Okay, Christy, what about you guys?
There's 2 best, everybody liked the block party that we had.
Okay, the
We
one.
said we need to focus on like have one in Pryor and have one in Adair, or, at different times of the year, have one in a different community.
Splitting it, okay.
Besides just Pryor.
Okay,
The other one was to do like there's a paper breakfast in the community building in Pryor all the time, but for fundraisers, we could do a big one, just like as a community get together.
Okay.
Meet your community, get to know your, neighbors.
so this is a social event without them paying. Yeah, we're serving, and pancakes are really cheap. I mean, to make mixtures of pancakes are cheap.
But
Okay.
it's not like, raising money for anybody, it's just like get to know your community.
Okay.
Like,
That's awesome. I love it. Totally something different. And a lot of people, you never know, maybe Greer Sausage says, hey, it's a social event for the community. We'll give you a box of sausage. That's less and less than what it, but it's also a way of reaching it. Look, I'm all right with throwing other people's names on it.
just like bring donate sausage or whatever.
Yeah. Okay. Great. So a benefit, but not a fundraising benefit. A benefit saying, hey, come sit down for a morning and enjoy your community and get to know one another. All right, awesome. We could throw some of our people there, obviously serving, but some of our people stationed at the tables just to sit and talk to people. All right, just as Romans. Right, great. That's awesome. All right, Beverly, Pat, you guys back there.
Well, one of the things was instead of having a backpack and one for the kids, we might do something for the kids.
Okay.
And get them coming in, and Patty had small ideas.
Okay.
Well, along with everybody else, the Christmas in the Country, the county fair, adopting fifth quarter, Interstate fifth quarter. I don't know who's doing fifth quarter.
Okay.
Yeah. Adopting a college student.
Okay.
Or somehow or another get into, like the family that came, that works for the Google construction, and somehow get into that venue
Okay.
of workers or.
We know how to get into Google. Okay.
You don't get into Google.
It's not Google, is it?
But get out to somehow, and even if we just
Right,
sit, yeah.
not the, I mean, they're not migrant workers, but like that family.
And serve them while they're here from a different place, even. Okay.
Right.
Learning, showing them the community.
Showing in the community somehow.
All right. Absolutely. Absolutely. I love those. I love all those. All right. Penny, your section.
Well, we talked about neighbors going caroling for
Okay.
Christmas. And then we talked about having the Hayride bonfire here at the church.
Okay.
And taking lights to the school. And we could take it to our neighborhoods.
Okay. Absolutely.
And our neighbors to come.
Inviting them to a family event. A family with everybody together.
Right, we
Good.
could have little games for the
Right.
kids and, hot dogs and chili contest. Whatever you call it. Whoever has the best
Yeah. Chili cook-off. Okay. Yeah. Absolutely. Good.
But it would be either, here at the church where everybody could see.
It and be a visible sight
Yeah.
into the community. Good. I love those. Like one thing I think you guys mentioned about the county fair and stuff like that. One of the best probably sellers and fundraisers, in my opinion, the county fair are the two older guys who sell the bottles of pop for $1 because you're not having to buy a $4 lemonade, right? You know who they are, but. So what if we say, not because I don't want to take anything away from them, but what if we found a way to get into that system and said, hey, we're going to do just bottles of water, or just this, that, or just, and we're not trying to make an arm and a leg off of people. We're just finding ways to say, here, hand it out kind of thing, or just walking through the deal, and all this we get the permission that we need to get to do and to be involved in these things. One thing that I thought that had been thinking of is, in kind of lines with the chili cook-off, men love meat, right? I mean, we love it, we love meat. It's not that hard to have like a man's feast cook-off, where guys are out inviting our friends that, hey, this Saturday at our church, guys in the church are competing against each other about who can smoke the best ribs, about who makes the best steak, about the, and so, or maybe we just say it's just one thing. Maybe we say we're just going to do pork tenderloins. That way we're judging everybody the same, and we're going to do this, and you're going to get a ticket, right? And you're my guest, and so you're not having to pay a thing for this. You're just going to come. You're going to get a ticket. We're going to have a bluegrass band or something, and we're going to have some activities for your kids, and you bring your family with you. You bring your family, and we're having this, and we're just going to kind of host this kind of thing at the church, and maybe you want to keep it budget friendly. Who makes the best sandwich? Or I don't know, but just different things like that to bring people another event for the whole family. And you know what? You don't have to, and I love it. And this hurt at the same time, but I totally got it. They said this week. Not every conversation you have has to be a sermon. Try telling a room full of pastors that. Not every conversation you have has to be a sermon. But you can have Jesus conversations without preaching to them, right? And it can be full of conversations, and it doesn't have to be this now. Let's sit down and open the Bible, not taking anything away from that, but saying, hey, while we're out there, that's the center of our conversation. Every conversation we have is something in that, and we're just engaging. How's your family? Do you have a church? Are you plugged in? What are you guys? What kind of curriculum is your church used if you do? Not trying to pull you away. Let's just engage in it. Churches helping churches together. Great questions. Now, here's how this goes. Raise your own baby, and let's figure out how to put this into action. Okay? Let's figure out how to put these things into practice. All right? But what y'all really want to know is how are we going to grow? How are we going to grow physically? What's the plan for physical growth? What I want to do is I want to give you a quick 1 to 3 month, 4 to 6 month, and 2 to 5 year plan. All right? These are things that we've talked about as leaders. Nothing's set in stone. This is just stuff that you need to know that we are aware of. And as the leadership team, and as a pastor, we're trying to be proactive in this stuff, okay? 1 to 3 month, what we're doing, I've already told you, we're in the process of purchasing more chairs from Rejoice Church, $15 a chair, all right? That's part of what the envelope money is going to get to. We're going to purchase them for in here in the sanctuary. We're going to be willing to rework the sanctuary setup if we need to add more chairs. All right, once people start coming, it's a packed house in here. Like, it's funny to say we were down today and we had 147 people still. All right, we want to rework. We had a funeral in here yesterday for someone in the community that they said that there was standing room only. So let's find out ways to do it. One way is to do that. Second way, we've already done it, just put it into practice last week, is we've expanded our kids department. We used to have 3 classes. Now we have 4. Everybody likes to have kids. That's good. All right? You're taking Jesus faithfully. Be fruitful and multiply. All right? So we've taken our nursery, we've expanded it from just 0 to 3, now to 0 to 1. Another nursery class, and put the door there where if you haven't looked at it, you need to go. It makes it look so much bigger. Then you have a 2 and 3 year old. Then you have a pre-K or a K4 to first grade. Then you have a 2nd to 5th grade. And so these kids are going generational, and we've expanded, which means we need to expand teachers, and we have. There's always room for more. There's my kick for the day, all right? There's always room for more, but we've had the teachers to make this happen. But one thing we have to do is, look, if we want to reach our community, students are every bit of the church as adults, all right? They're every bit of the church as adults. And so that's the immediate stuff that we've done. We've already set chairs up, if you've seen, in the back until we get the others. We've already made that option for people who are Great Baptist and come in late, all right, and that they need a seat. But maybe if we're meet and greeting, the great part about meet and greet is you see people. The bad part is if you're late and you come in during meet and greet, you have no clue who's sitting where, all right? And you have to stay in the back until, well, if we leave that back row ready, getting ready to fill it, we have to, now that the speakers are up, we can put people here and here, we can scoot chairs and we can add some. We have the potential of doing that. But then in just a minute, let me give you the 4 to 6 month one. And I'm going to tell you this, don't shoot me. Okay? Don't shoot me. Listen to me for just a minute. Our leadership team, we believe fully that what God is doing and in preparation to do is far more than what we can handle. And that's a good thing. Far more than what we can handle. And the truth of the matter is, you can only put so many people in one place and not make it uncomfortable, and 2, technically make it legal. What we don't want to do is do illegal stuff as the church. We don't want to get in trouble for it, then to shut the place down. All right? But we fully believe, we've seen it over, over the summertime. We didn't really do this. We did this. We've seen it happen. Why would we put a hand on God? Why would we say, God, okay, that's enough, right? So one option, one possibility is we may, in the next 4 to 6 months, have to go to 2 services. We may have to. Listen, unless you deconstruct things and reconstruct things, which takes a lot of money to do it, God also calls us as a church. He calls you as a family, me as a pastor, and us as a church to be good stewards of our finances. Right? Now, we would love to just hop right out and build another building. But we still have debt on this building. How good steward of that would be. So, do we want to just say, God, you've sent enough until we get this paid off? Whoa, Nelly. Right? Whoa, Nelly, because we don't want to go to 2 services. I want you to get a couple things. Number 1, before you start whining, remember this. It's temporary. All right? It's temporary. If we have to go to this, and I told the leader, said, as much as we don't, listen, that means I have to preach a second time. That means it's more, look, we can think of all these negative things. But holy crap if Jesus built his church and sent people. And yes, I said that in church. Because my mom's out there now. And now she's back. She's here to get on to me. Okay? What if, church? What if Jesus sent so many people and we said, we got to take a second service? Good grief almighty, we'll figure out the details. And if he sends that, don't you think he's got enough to figure out the details? Don't you think he's got enough to do that kind of stuff? Like, I get all of this. I get all the cons, right? But here's the pros. People coming to Jesus, that beats any con there is. That beats any cons there is. And I shared a deal with our leaders and then with our Cuppies and Joe group. Some people think that the older people in the church are the ones who are the least resistant. I'm telling you, these people are world changers still. They're wanting to. And we talked about it, that we have to allow our bubbles to be popped. Why do your kids blow bubbles? To see how big they can blow them and to see how much they can pop them. Right? Why? So that they can redo it again and redo it again. Man, if we are reproducing disciples and we're blowing big bubbles and people are coming and we have to pop that to 2 services to expand, we may do it. So you just need to be ready. I just don't want to lie to you and tell you that's not an option, because it's very much an option. There may be others. We're looking at them. We're trying to be a good steward. We're not putting a date on it right now. We're not saying this is it. But at the same time, if you don't plan for it, what you're always going to do is just say, we might, and you never do. If we're going to go and reach our community, we're going to get out into Christmas in the country, if we're going to get out these things, if we're going to serve people, if we're going to invite people and tell them about Jesus and bring them in, we have to be prepared to where we're going to put them. That may mean splitting into 2 services. That may very well mean that. And Jesus is going to build his church through that. So if that's what we have to do for a temporary fix, we'll figure it out. And we'll figure it out well. And we'll do it with as much excellence as we can. And we will put our effort into it. And some people, most people, will probably jump right on board with that. And some people may leave. That's a deal that they have to decide in their hearts. I can't tell them that. But if we're raising up disciples, then you and God have to deal with all that. Because we're going to do what we need to do as a church. We're going to do what we need to reach as many people as possible. All right? So this is very soon. Look, very much by Christmas time or the first of the year, we could be setting a date saying, hey, we have to go ahead and do this because we're not going to grow. There's an 75 to 80% rule. Okay? Once you fill 75% of your capacity, then you have to think about something else. It's funny. Most people love a sold-out crowd at a football game, but they don't love a sold-out crowd in church because they didn't get to sit their purse next to them. Right? They didn't have a place for their blanket or for their coat. They couldn't stretch their feet out the right way. All right? So in church, when you hit the 75% rule, you need to start thinking about something. About a month ago, we have 168 chairs, pew chairs. Okay? Here's why we went ahead and added more to be proactive right now. About a month ago, we went through a span where we have 168 chairs. If you do the math, 75% of that, I believe, didn't we say, Jeff, is 126? I think we talked about that. It's 126. We're just talking in here. We're not even talking kids. We already expanded that. We're talking right here, 168. 75% of that is 126. And we had 125 a couple of weeks consecutive in church. Which means we're at the 75% rule. Which means we have to be proactive. We have to be thinking, and what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? And how are we going to do it? And so I just want you to know, the leaders and I, we're doing this. We're thinking about it. We're wrestling with it. We're knowing that we have our gritted teeth about it, but it's not about us. I talked about it this morning. We have to throw away this garbage, this dung, this excrement. We have to say, what does God want? And how's he going to build his church? Okay? And 2 to 5 years, the last one here. Look, building expansion. And you need to know that 2 to 5 years is sooner than later. Our hope is that we're sticking as much money to the building fund as we can to pay off the building. Right? To pay it off, to get it down, to get that as Jesus does use and grow his church. Our hope is to move to a multi-building facility. That where we build either out here or over there, where we build a new facility that has a much larger sanctuary. Not a sanctuary that seats 200 then. Not one that seats 300. We're talking 500 or 600 or 700. We're talking build one that says, hey, if you don't fill it up right now, great, that's just more room for people to visit in the back. That has big lobby and commons areas. How many of you get claustrophobic in these halls sometimes? Right? You want to punch people in the kitchen because they stole the last donut. Right? Because it's claustrophobic and so many people are in there. So we want to build something that has the options to have community and to turn this into fellowship and a student activity center and a kids activity center and to make this an educational space or whatever it may be. That's just some options. All right? I'm not telling you, saying this is what's set in stone, but I want you to know our job is to communicate that to you. And if you don't see this stuff coming, you never get excited about it. You never get excited about it. This is something to be excited about, like knowing that God's given a vision and he's showing that if you build it, they will come. That's been true because you have gone out and you've talked to people and you've shared life and you've shared community and you've shared the gospel. And you're allowing your bubbles to be popped. And so this is what it looks like. We've taken steps already with chairs. We're buying more chairs. We're going to rework things when we need to get ready for that growth. We're going to do all of that. And when that's not enough, because Jesus is building his church. We'll look at a second service. We'll find a different way to do things. When we get to where we can financially do it, we'll build another building. We'll build another building. And we will allow, our goal is we will allow Jesus to build his church. You're either on board or you're not. It's either, you either are or you're not. And you don't have to answer to me for that. I'm telling you, I'm on board. I'm on board. And I'm telling you that as a pastor side, I was saying, my job is to be on board, but also, I can try to say, I don't want to preach 2 times on Sunday mornings. I sweat enough one time. Man, if Jesus sends the people, I'll tell them about him. Okay? We'll do what we need to do. And I hope that you will too. This doesn't take place without the church. We want to connect the church and the home. We want to send you out. And we want to bring people in to send them out. Jeff said it the very best. And I'm not putting him on a pedestal, but he said it in our leadership team. He said, heaven forbid that we build another building with a 400 or 600 or 800 facility and we have to go to 2 services again. Do you know that there is probably in Mays County 40,000 people demographically in all of Mays County, and less than 10% of them are in church every week? That means the people are there. They're there to reach. They don't reach unless they're told. They're not told unless. So here's what I want you to do. I want you, whoever will, to come and together, and let's pray. Let's just hit the altar together as a family. Just altar, front seats, whatever it may be. And let's just spend some time saying, God, build your church. Build your families. Build your homes. Help us connect it together and do the things that we need to do. Let's do this, and then we'll spend some time fellowshipping together. All right, just gather around wherever you can. Wherever you can, gather around. Here's what I'm going to do. Jeff, since you had the greatest idea, the greatest thought, no, I'm just kidding. Would you open us in prayer and I'll close us in prayer? Okay.
Lord, you're awesome. We thank you for the way you put this morning first of church. Yes, you continue to do that. We thank you for the problems that we have and the growth that you're giving to this church, to your church, Lord. That's what we always keep our focus on you. Increasing your people. Save us in Jesus.
Lord, I thank you for the heart and the passion that you've given the church. And Lord, it's evident because people don't come unless people are excited, not about what we are doing, but Jesus, about what you're doing. About what you're doing and about the way that you're transforming lives and the way that you're transforming families. And Father, I pray for each and every family that's represented here tonight. God, they're the ones that they're here and they're interested and they're looking forward to what you're doing. And God, I pray that you would put them on mission, that to the rest of the church, the ones that couldn't be here tonight, God, that we would encourage, that we would challenge, that we would let the language that comes out of our mouth, Father, be pleasing to you. Jesus, that we would be excited. God, Lord, that we would know that you are in control and we are not, and that's really good news for us. And Father, I pray that you do more than what our eyes could ever imagine, more than what even our hearts could ever even ask. I pray, God, that people, that dads would come and surrender their lives to you, that moms would surrender their lives to you, that teenagers and that kids would surrender to the Lord Jesus Christ. And Father, that you would build your church by building families. Strong churches don't make strong families. Strong families make strong churches. And I pray, God, that you would challenge our hearts through the week to be intentional about conversations with our kids and our husbands and our wives and our grandkids and our nieces and our nephews. Father, put it on our heart, convict us and challenge us so much to be intentional in the way that we do life. Intentional about the things of God. Father, we are so intentional about so many things. And God, the truth is that the church is often so very lazy when it comes to having Jesus conversations with our families and our friends and our community. Lord, I thank you for the conversations we've had tonight. I thank you for teenagers who have given ideas of reaching community, for men and women who have brainstormed and said, hey, here's how we can do it, and we're willing to help. I pray, God, that we would do our part. Lord, I think about the scripture with Elisha that Only God can send the water. But we have to dig a ditch. Lord, you're the only one that can provide. But you call us to obedience. Obedience is our part. The outcome and the rest is yours. Jesus, help us to do our part. Grab our heart and let us live on mission for the glory of God and the good of your people. And we give you all the praise in Jesus' name. Amen. Amen. All right. Thank you for coming, and let's go eat. All right? Let's go eat. There's stuff back here. We'll move it back that way, and we will eat.
I'll step on the bottom.